We are now going to begin our work session. Reviewing projects. Let's see. First one is 23 Pearl Avenue front covered porch. Comments from board members?
Questions? I saw the date on this goes back to 2021. Has this been submitted multiple times or is that a typo? That was just curiosity. Question I had was, with the width of the deck, how far it extends from the front of the house. On the first page that shows the survey, in pen, it looks like it's not going to be quite as wide. Like it doesn't protrude from the front of the house as much as before. I was just curious, if that's accurately drawn. I assume the front walkway is to be removed because there's another one that is indicated on the site plan. So more clarification than anything.
Okay.
I had a question about the type of railing at the front. And then also if there's any kind of detail at the posts as far as a capital or base detail.
I've had just another scope verification question. It looks like the drawing shows two front windows in a different location and configuration than the photograph. And I just wanted to verify that our scope is the porch alone and not changing windows.
And then my comments were along Tracy's lines about the detailing and if there's any requirements to wrap the raw lumber posts and the beams on, since it's the front of the house, if it's more of a porch than a deck, if that's a requirement or not. I don't know. Be nice if it was wrapped. Yeah.
All right. Next one is 1231 Cheshire Lane. Comments from the board?
The only comment I had was on the second story where you have the new pop-up. There's the shingle on the front facade of the pop-up, which I'll call a big dormer, if you will. But then it goes to siding directly on the corner and didn't know if it'd be better to maybe continue the shake around the corner and make it, rather than having it at the corner, do something different, do something the same around the corner or around the whole pop-up possibly.
Same comment.
I don't have any additional comments.
All right. Next, we have 511 North Bompard Avenue, detached garage.
My comment was, it appears, maybe I'm not reading it correctly. It appears that that long 36 feet long facade on the back of the garage faces the neighbor and it has no windows. And I appreciate they're putting windows on other sides, but if this one faces the neighbor, it sure would be nice to break up that facade.
And my only comments are, this being one of the more iconic homes of Webster, just seeing and making sure that the garage matches stylistically, at least color and proportions to the home would be nice.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thoughts about maybe the overhangs and maybe including some of that bracket detail.
Yeah.
To help tie it in a little bit more to the home. Would be good.
Along those same lines, just verifying that the siding width and the width of the trim matches the house. That would help tie the two together as well.
All right. Next one is 242 Portland Terrace, also detached garage. Comment from the board?
I didn't have any on this one.
There's trim around the overhead door and there's really not trim shown around the windows or around the side hinge door. I think the trim would be appropriate around the windows and the man door. And then also to consider doing the 6/0 window style to match the house. And just verify that the trim and siding width match the house in order to tie the two together.
Similar comments.
All right. Next on our list is 406 West Jackson. Looks like we have some revised drawings.
Mhm. So. this is a-
It looks like that arbor structure in the front is removed.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like a different scope altogether. Yeah. So not a garage anymore, but just the house again?
Front porch without arbor.
So instead of an arbor, it's got just a dormer
Yeah.
with a new door.
Projected.
I think it looks fine.
You know what the scope is? What is, like, is
It
it
looks
just
like-
the,
We're filling in the garage door over here.
Yeah.
oh,
Filling the garage.
the new is red.
And then the new iron railing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's new trim at the door, and then new dormer.
So that's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that looks like, yeah,
Yeah, looks good to me.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah, so it's a lot better than the last middle.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
406 West Jackson Avenue, front porch. It looks like the revision removed the arbor, so,
Yeah.
if everyone's okay with that, we can move it to a pre-approval. Unless there's questions.
Sure.
Nope, I'm good with
I'm
that.
good with that.
Good, yeah.
All right. That's, projects on the agenda for this evening. We'll take a break in the work session. The official meeting will begin promptly at 5:30. If you're on Zoom, just hang on and we'll be, back shortly. Thank you. Ready to go? All right, it's 5:30. Welcome everyone to the Architecture Review Board meeting. We finished our work session at 5 and the official meeting is now underway. Introduce Yolanda Wilkins and Jim Bailey with the city. We have Emily Hickson Shepherd, City Council Member Liaison tonight with us. Carol Duncan and Tracy Collins, Mark Vogel and David Yates, and myself, Bob Buckman, all volunteer architects and landscape architect. Sit on the board tonight. First item of business is review of meeting minutes from July 11th. I believe Chuck was here and he's not present, but the other four of us were. So with that, may I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the July 11th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes are approved as noted, as written. Next, we do have one pre-approval. So I'm going to ask for a motion. If you're present for that, you don't have to wait around. Project is 406 West Jackson Avenue. May I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve 406 West Jackson Avenue based on the revised submittal received this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 406 West Jackson's approved. At this point, if I call your project, we invite you to come up and introduce yourself at the microphone in front, and we'll discuss your project. If you're on Zoom, to raise your Zoom hand, and Yolanda will add you, and we can discuss the project with you there. First project is 23 Pearl Avenue. Anyone present for that one?
Hi, I'm the owner of 23 Pearl Avenue. I'm Adam Burmeyer. Just replacing a deck off the front porch with or off the front with a actual front porch covered, get the roof on there. That's about the extent of it.
Great, thanks. Welcome, Adam. I think Mark had a,
I had a couple of questions for just a clarification. One of them is just the dates on the drawing say 2021. I was curious if this had been submitted previously or.
No. So 2021 was when I had the survey done.
Okay, so the question clarification, just wanted to know, it looks like from the dimension plans that it's sticking out about 8 feet from the facade of the front of the house.
Yep.
But on the second drawing that was submitted on the site plan, on the survey, where it says location view porch, it appears that it's not sticking out as far as the existing.
Yeah, so the existing sticks out about 12 feet from my
Okay,
house,
so-
and the new part would only be about 8 feet.
Okay, and the existing concrete sidewalk will be removed.
Yes, I will remove that, and it will end up closer to my house and repoured, just needs to be replaced anyways. Thanks.
hey, Carol?
Yeah, I had a question, just scope verification question. It looks like on your drawing, the front windows that are now under the new porch roof, it looks like those are drawn in a different configuration than the photograph.
Yeah, all my windows are sliding windows, and I forgot that it's 2 sliders, so I'm not doing anything with.
Okay, so the windows are remaining as is.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to verify.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then, hi, my question pertained to the finish of the lumber. Like, for example, you have the aluminum soffits and gutter and fascia to match the existing, which is all white. Are you going to wrap or paint the columns of the structure?
My plan is the columns would either get like a vinyl post sleeve.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
to kind of match the railing.
Yeah.
Either that or wrap it in the AZAC.
Okay.
um,
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Just, it wasn't noted. So we just want to make that, if that's going to be what you're going to do,
Yeah.
we'll add to the motion.
Okay, perfect.
All right, anything else from the board? Sounds good. Thank you, Adam. I think we're good to make a motion with that additional note. Someone on the board, please. Tracy?
Make a motion. To approve 28 Pearl Avenue as submitted with the clarification that the front post will be wrapped.
And would we also do the beam, the structure below as well? Or just the wrap? Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there's a
The
header.
post will be wrapped
Close enough.
above and below
Yeah.
the deck level.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, Anna, you're approved as noted.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Next, we have 1231 Cheshire Lane.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Jim Valesky,
Good to see you, Jim.
and I don't really have a whole lot of comments. It's a new second story on top of a one-story. I think the elevations are on page 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new front porch. Vinyl siding. That's really all I got.
Yeah, my comment, I think, was shared by some others on the commission here, or the board. The second story bump out above the porch is the shingle sided. And would you consider wrapping that on the sides? That way you look at the 3/4 view, you wouldn't see shingle on the front and then horizontal siding if you would wrap the shingle.
You're proposing what we do on the sides?
Wrap the shingle
How
siding.
far?
Well, on the right side, maybe just back to that return and then maybe,
Are you talking like about one of the 2-foot return things?
no, here, if you want, I can show on the plan.
The right side elevation.
So thinking if this is the shingle style, right, the shingle siding, if we would wrap it right there and maybe, I'm not sure how far back here or just the side,
Maybe just do that bump.
maybe, yeah, and maybe if there's a reveal there or something.
Sure.
But that would be the shingle.
We could be okay with that.
Yeah, hi.
This is, Rick.
Hi, Rick. Hi. I'm Dave.
Nice to meet
Bob.
Yep, here,
Yeah, so right now we have the shingle.
yep,
And then looking at this side elevation, we
Yep.
have regular.
and this, you're talking about right here.
Yeah,
So you're saying maybe skip the shape here, just do it on this piece.
so do shake there.
Yeah, I got no problem with shake
Oh,
right
sorry.
there.
And
Yeah.
then when you turn the corner here, maybe take it a certain distance back, maybe.
I think it looked weirder to run shake
Well,
back.
it should have been on that offset regardless. Got about a good catch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd look odder to change the siding midway
Yeah.
through the side of the
Yeah.
house than it would to run the same. This is the same siding that runs around the garage, so.
Right, right.
The element, the view from the side. and view
Well,
from the
he'll
rear.
give you that option if you want to run it all the way to the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd prefer to run the lap siding around the sides and the back of the house. And
Well,
then-
just
and-
go down this side. And then we have a normal ramp on the other.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to. I
Yeah,
prefer
you
to
you
just run
guys,
the
if you
lap
could
here.
clarify for the rest of us what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I'll run shake here,
We
here,
will.
here, And
Okay.
leave this lap all the way around. That way, your side elevation is gonna match. I mean,
You
the same-
prefer to leave it like it is?
I'd prefer to leave it like it is with the bump out being shake.
Right, infill
Yeah,
and
and
the
just
bump
doing
out.
that offset right there. We'll come back and do that.
And just make you aware that if you look down here, looking at that,
Understood.
you have shake that with corner board then lap, which.
Yeah. I've seen a number of houses.
Okay,
that
okay.
do Have different siding. Our goal is just to give the front a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Right, so I think is, what we're talking about is adding it just to the right side elevation in the one little spot,
Yeah.
correct?
When it's south side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
To me,
It's side only.
personally,
Yeah.
whether you wanted to do it on the
That'll
rest or
be
not.
a good
is-
continuity. It should have been like that
Right.
already.
I agree. So I think if you guys are good with that, then, I don't think we had any other comments. So thank you.
Thank you. very much.
May I have a motion on, 1231 Cheshire Lane?
Make a motion to accept 1231 Cheshire Lane as submitted with the inclusion of continuing the shake style siding on the right elevation side of the new
The
dormer.
offset.
Dormer, yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, you guys are approved. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, next we have 511 North Bompart Avenue. Good evening.
I'm Debbie Richardson. I'm the permit coordinator for Coach House Garages. I took notes on your comments during the work session, and I've spoken with our homeowner. You would ask about putting some windows in the back of the building. His preference is to leave it as is with no windows. It's going to be sitting basically in a stand of trees. So, there's going to be trees around the back. The neighbor won't actually just be staring, right at the back of the building. There'll be trees surrounding the back. So his preference, both on safety and cost, is to leave it without any windows on the back. And then secondly, I wanted to clarify what you were talking about on the overhangs. Were you talking about the rafter tails on the second floor?
yeah, I was just thinking about how we could make the garage look more cohesive with the home. If we could
Okay.
pick out some details,
Well,
as far
the-
as the overhang depth and.
those rafter tails on the top floor,
Mhm.
are, exposed soffit, rafters, nothing that we're building with nowadays, if you will. And, according to our sales rep, would probably cost the homeowner $3,000 to $4,000 to put those on the garage. So we were thinking, since it matches the first level, because the first level doesn't have those. It's only the top level that has those. And everything else is going to be matching: the width, the color, the shingles, all of that is going to be matching. So we respectfully would like to not have to add that. It would be a great deal of cost to the homeowner.
Okay,
What is the, do you know the existing slope of the existing roof?
I do not, but I think someone here might. It's a
It's all-
612.
Okay. Would there be any consideration to do the slight adjustment of the slope at the new eaves of the, come from the 612 and in the last 2 or 3 feet, come to a 412?
Okay, I need someone besides me for that. Dennis?
Okay.
That requires a cantilever rafter or cantilever truss, I mean.
In order to do that, and you're talking about basically bringing in individual rafters to do like a small
Over frame, yeah.
spot. See the house have that technique?
If you look at how the garage is gonna sit toward, it's gonna be more like parallel to the house, so,
I think the upper roof does.
Yeah.
Not just a straight hip out station. Which is what we're doing.
All right, any other comments from the board? Is everyone good with the submittal? We can go ahead and, I can go ahead and ask for a vote.
I'm gonna strongly encourage a window on that 36-foot
Yeah.
long. We don't have control over where trees are located when they get torn down, if they're replanted or not. So that's my strong recommendation. It's a very, very long facade to not have any.
If we do, if it comes with the vote that we add windows, then we would add two. Just to be more aesthetically pleasing.
And then and then the new siding will match the
Yes,
same profile
as the house.
and all that.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? I mean, I think with a house like this and, the windows on all the sides, I think it's, I think it would be more fitting for that to have something, that wall's so, it's so, personally, I think it's such a long wall, something to break it up. If it wasn't windows, it could be,
The
something.
caveat of the approval will
Yeah.
abide by that.
Anything else on trim, or is everyone good with the rest of it? We've already discussed it's gonna match the house, so. All right, with that, may I have a motion then?
I'd make a motion to approve 511 North Bompard Avenue as submitted with the addition of a window on the back elevation.
One or two.
A minimum of one. Up to two.
Up to two.
Second. I believe it was the homeowner's preference to do two, right? Just to clarify.
Well, what we discussed was if he was gonna have to put windows there, we would probably do two. Just, he may want to see the drawing, the elevation, but we think it's probably gonna be more pleasing to put two.
Yeah.
Actually, I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
More is better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the motion. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, approved as noted. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Our next two are also.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
242
Get the
Portland
spider web window on the back.
Terrace.
Yeah. Actually have Mr. Getz, our homeowner, is here with me. We looked again at the comments from your work session.
Yeah,
We looked at, if you would look at that front elevation where you're asking to put trim on the windows and our problem with that is if you take a look at the lighting on either side of the overhead door and then where that window is, you really don't have room to put a 4-inch trim on that window.
You can bump the window over a couple inches, can't you?
We can't bump it over because it's right there on the corner just due to our build.
or make
We
it
can't bump it enough to
smaller.
put 4 inches of trim on each,
Could you make it smaller window?
Yeah,
with
just
the
make
trim?
it a slightly narrower window because it really looks quite odd with not having any
Looks
trim on that.
unfinished, yeah.
Yeah,
To put trim everywhere else and then not have it on the windows, it just looks.
We have trim everywhere else?
I mean, we don't have trim everywhere
Where
else.
else do we have trim?
Yeah.
that was one of the comments. You have trim
It's
around
shown
the
on the-
overhead
Trim
door.
everywhere.
Well,
But it became a
yeah, no,
became a
it,
problem as soon as we looked at the.
right, no, it's shown on the corners and around the door. So, when we were looking at it, I think the comment was made, I think you would trim out the windows typically.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that on its face, but I would just say, to my perspective, I was really happy with what I think is a really elegant and classic look of two lights, one on each side of the garage. And I'm gonna be sinking a ton of money into brand new driveway as well, and the spanking new garage, and I'll be able to work on there at night. And it looks really elegant. And to go from that to put one light in the center were our only thought.
That isn't the proposal is not
Yeah.
to put one light in the center. It's to make this window slightly narrower so you can accommodate the trim all the way around and still have your coach lights. So that would save you a little money to make that window a little
I have to
smaller.
say, I love the look of the garage, not only for those two lights, but with the big windows, which are really important to me, to get some light in the garage, be able to work in there and the look of it. I just thought I cannot say that trim does not make it dressier, but it seems, at least from my perspective, be cutting off nose despite the face to have smaller windows. and
Just the
scrunch
one
in.
window, just the one window on the front is smaller. You won't be able to see the two.
You know, I didn't think of that. Will it look incongruent to have different size windows now when we were uniform before? And the one window, nobody even sees, it's facing the lower yard.
Well,
Now
that's,
it would be
that's
smaller windows and different size windows.
just one window. This window,
I know the window we're talking about.
slightly narrower. It can be the same height. And you really don't see it at all at the same time as this window.
True. Yeah, I just love the big window and I love the lights where they are, but to spend more money on trim, make it look fancier, have a smaller window, I would just say cutting off the face to nose to spider.
Yeah. The window right there is 33
30,
inches
yeah.
wide.
We can,
Window that's one-
I'd hate to lose 6 inches of a window. I love windows. You see my whole house has windows all over it right now.
It looks like to me, I'm just looking at the elevation. It looked like to me, there's room to put the trim around the window. The window could be scooted 4 inches to the left. I mean, I don't see this as a big deal.
Yeah.
I'll jam it in there.
Huh?
We'll jam it in there.
I'm looking at the scale because I'm looking at how the light on the right-hand side is like, overlapping the trim on both sides. If it seems like there's enough room on the left to put trim around the window, I don't know. Am I missing something? Is it? Yeah, I'm not sure that, to me, that's all I'm trying to point out is it just looks like it's a game of inches here, but also where the lights go is a question because,
We'll just jam it all in there.
well, no, I was just asking, on the light elevation, really what kind of light is it going to be? And do they need to be there? Could they be up a little higher? I'm just asking the question, not that solves the problem.
From the door to the window, I
Yeah.
got 1 foot 1 inch. So if I got 4-inch trim, if I got 4-inch trim on the door and 4-inch trim on the window, that's 8 inches off of 1 foot 1.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I got my 4-inch wall coming in, so 4 off of 1 foot 2. That's and then I got the corner trim, and then I got 4 inches around the window. So it's just gonna be trim, window,
Right.
trim.
No wall space. How would that look?
Yeah.
Would that defeat the purpose of trying to make it fancy and have it all be scrunched in? It just seems to be.
Yeah. Too crowded. Yeah.
It's not fancy. It's just basic. It's really not fancy. It's fairly narrow trim. And you can just solve it by making the one window slightly narrower.
Yeah. Or,
it's still,
Gonna have trim on your
mean,
corners.
I'm just speaking for our homeowner. I mean, it still ends up basically being trim, window,
Right.
trim, window, or door. I mean.
Yeah.
all
I mean,
very crowded.
can that window go around the corner next to the double door and then have space for the garage
The window
door
on the front elevation, put it on the side.
I just love
in the same corner, but just around the corner?
I'd rather scrunch it in. If the board does end up voting to insist on the trim, I'd rather keep the size of the window because that is so important to me and have the scrunched look. And is it possible, Dennis, or are you guys to do, I just asked Dennis what the width of the trim was. He said 4. Is it possible to cheat that and get 3-inch trim, or is it just terribly?
Our AZAC trim comes in 4 and 6. We use all AZAC trim.
It's all very
That's
expensive to
what's
do
gonna
custom.
match your, yeah. that's what's
Yes, we
gonna
could.
match
Well,
your-
so
See about ripping it down.
So did you say you can't scoot the window enough to the left to make up the difference and fit the trim in?
If we do, we're basically gonna be touching
Right.
corner trim, window trim, window trim,
Yeah.
light,
Rendering it
trim,
really not
overhead
trim anymore,
door.
just constant action.
Yeah.
There's no trim, the implicit in trim is there's a wall behind it. So when it's trim abutted against each other on each side, it's no longer trim.
It's gonna be-
It's, there is a lot of classical designs that do have like window and door trim abutting. It's not anything that's an affront or bizarre at all. And also too, just noting that your light fixture here is just jammed in between your corner trim and your side trim here. So you already have just
Yeah.
a tight configuration on that side. You've got it crammed on one side and then space on the other.
Not
So-
much space.
Well, I mean, I
What I'm
think,
saying is that if you add the trim,
right.
which you can do, it will be a more balanced look with what you've got going on the other side.
It was all, honestly, when it comes down to dimensions though, to Carol's point, 1'1" is what you have on the plan on the right-hand side. So it would be the exact same condition because it's 1'1" on the left. So, I mean, just adding the trim was really I think the point.
Do it. Jamie?
I mean, you would still have siding showing, just like you do on the right, is what it appears to me. Same dimension as the elevations, right? I mean, am I missing
I'll
that?
redraw it and resubmit it
Okay.
with the trim.
And then also just another consideration to coordinate the design of the house with the design of the garage. That it looks like the house has 6/0 style windows. Would you consider matching the window style on the garage?
With
You
the,
know how
with the
much longer
grills.
it would be?
You have the picture of the house.
I do not have it. Forgot to put it in there. We have two windows if that would.
What style, you have a picture?
Yeah,
We
it's,
didn't
I'm
have a-
sorry, I didn't.
that's okay. No, that's
Didn't get a
fine.
picture on our
If
packet.
you look at the windows on the house, in the top sash, there's grills.
Oh, there's called up.
Yeah, like
No.
like this right here.
Here we go.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have
got
those,
it.
if you have those on your house.
You want top grid?
Right, that's what they call,
They're plastic.
right, that's
Yeah.
called 6/0 because there's,
Those-
yeah. And
I didn't want the trim. I'll spend more money on that. And the choice is, do I have a choice?
I'm just asking you
Sure.
a question.
Okay.
Would you consider matching the style of the windows on the garage to the house and add the grills? Because yes, I understand that these are applied grills, but they're a fairly prominent feature of the house when you look at it. And I'm just asking you if you would consider matching that on the garage to help tie the two buildings together. the
If it wasn't
design.
tied to spending money, I would consider it. Exactly. I wouldn't mind either way.
Yes,
I
we'll
think they
do it.
both look great, but, what
Yes,
does
we'll-
that
yes, we'll
budget
do it.
wise?
Okay, we'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so trim on the windows, on all the windows, 4 inches, and then, the 6/0.
The 6/0.
The 6/0 lights in the windows, so that way it, matches the house. We can put those both in the motion, if that's agreeable.
I'll make a motion to approve
Yeah.
242 Portland Terrace with the understanding that trim will be added around the windows and around the man door. The trim width will be 4-inch to match the trim around the overhead door. And the double hung windows on the new garage will be the 6/0 style to match the house windows.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved as noted. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.